Hi, welcome back to my channel. It's Froggy Friday. Today I am making something I have never made before, a tumbler topper. Stay tuned to see how this turns out. Froggy Friday is a weekly amphibian collaboration hosted by several amazing channels. As always, the playlist will be in my description. Don't forget to watch the other videos. I realized that for my 20-ounce skinny straight tumblers that I use the majority of the time, the small car coaster mold I have almost fits perfectly, so that's what I'm using. This is the crystal clear epoxy resin from Let's Resin. Sadly, this is another glitter from MNG Supply Co. that is no longer available, but essentially it is a very fine holographic green glitter. You can find these lots of places, including Temu and Amazon. I thought this is going to look really cool and pretty psychedelic, which is what I'm going for. You'll see why I'm going for psychedelic in just a little bit. Since this is so fine, it mixes in really well, and it doesn't all sink. It will sink to a certain extent, but not like larger glitters. How cool does that look? Here I am, popping bubbles. This is the frog I'm using to go on this tumbler topper. This is my small frog mold, and I'm just using the same resin and glitter mixture to make him. So he's going to match the bottom part of the tumbler topper. I had extra, so I also made this little crystal. So pretty. These are all cured and it's time to demold. So the little cutout in the car coaster actually works perfectly because we are going to need a cutout for a straw. These are sliding coffee lids, and I just went ahead and I popped that part out. It comes out really easily. It has these little wings on them that pop into indentations on the lid itself. I don't need that because I'm going to be attaching this permanently to the lid. I figured if I need a sliding lid for a hot coffee, I'll just use another lid. I have lots of extras. I was going to use those magnets to make this a removable tumbler topper, but I decided I'd rather just have it permanently in there. Okay, now I'm on to making the mushrooms, and I also end up using some of this greenery. I originally was going to use the whole potted plant, but I decided not to. And I'm using my leftover bamboo piece from last week, also known as skeleton finger. And I'll just be taking pieces off of this, rolling it up, and making these mushrooms. I'm using a polymer clay tool here that came in my BB Craft polymer clay toolkit, and I'm using that to make the mushroom caps. As long as I bake the stem and the mushroom cap together like that, they will be stuck together permanently. I am getting better at polymer clay. I'm still not great though. I need a lot more practice. And yes, I did in fact regret the shape of that mushroom cap. It looks a little naughty. This is going to be the largest mushroom, and I decided I wanted to do more of a flat mushroom cap on it. Tell me why this was the hardest one to do. It's flat. It really shouldn't have been an issue, but I messed around with this thing for so long. And then I reshaped it. And I kept messing with it.
6.5 hours later.
I don't know about you, but I'm glad that's over. And now we're on to making these really cool curly fern stalks. I wanted to make a few of them. I actually end up taking 2 and putting them together. While doing this, I realized that I really needed to form them where they were going to sit on this parchment paper, because this entire parchment paper piece is going into the oven. And so I didn't want to have to move these around and then have to reshape them all over again. They feel very Dr. Seuss-esque. I love them. Okay, these are all baked and ready to go, and I'm experimenting with color. I need to figure out how I'm going to get some color on these. And now you're going to see why I wanted it to look psychedelic. Check out this vinyl. How cool is this? I got this from Butterfly Lane Designs, and it is the trippiest frog. I had to have this when I saw it on their website. I knew it would be perfect for Froggy Friday. Those are alcohol ink markers, and yes, I am using alcohol ink again, but this time I'm going to seal it before I do anything with resin. I don't end up using the markers for all of these. I thought it might be easier than using the paintbrush and alcohol ink from a bottle. It was not. I really like coloring polymer clay with alcohol ink. It almost looks tie-dyed to me, which of course fits in perfectly with my trippy frog. So here is where I decide to get out my alcohol inks again, and this just looks way better, and it's faster and easier. I'm going to be using this alcohol ink. It is a pearl alcohol ink from Tim Holtz Ranger line. I want to use the oranges and pinks and purples to mimic the colors of the mushrooms in the vinyl. So I decided to choose this pearlescent orange because I thought it would add a little bit of extra sparkle and fun. This is another pearlescent alcohol ink, but it's a red color. These colors are going to be used for the cap of that same mushroom. The name of this one is Gumball Pink. It is a wild pink color. I really like it. I end up going in with a darker purple on the top. I wanted it to almost have a gradient look to it, and the purple I picked initially just wasn't enough of a contrast. I'm also using the darker purple on the stem of this tiny mushroom. Again, this is the one that was going to go into that little potted plant, but I don't end up using the pot part. I know there's an entire screen to use, but I really like the bottom portion of it apparently. Here I'm using a very deep orange color, also from the Tim Holtz line. It's called Ember. I'm using that super cool pink on the cap of the tiny mushroom as well. This is cerulean colored alcohol ink from Let's Resin. I decided to get fancy with this one. I did accidentally realize at one point that if you put a drop of alcohol onto the alcohol ink, it spreads and does this really cool design, and it again reminded me of tie-dye, so I ran with it. I'll be embellishing this frog with rainbow glitter. To stick the glitter to the frog, I'm using Art Glitter Glue. That's literally the brand of it. And this is glue that I actually use for paper crafting, but it works really well for glitter as well. While making this frog, I was watching my San Francisco Giants baseball team play on opening day against Cincinnati Reds. It was a fantastic game. They had a 9th inning comeback. They were down 3-2, and Wilmer Flores hit a 3-run homer. It was fantastic. I was jumping up and down. Don't worry, I put down the frog first. It's time to start assembling this, and rather than using the UV resin straight away as I did in last week's video, I decided to use super glue. This super glue was a huge pain in my ass. The dang nozzle's clogged, so I'm trying desperately to unclog it, but I can't get anything to come out. And that's when I realize, wait a minute. It's coming out at the bottom of the nozzle. I don't even know how that happened. I decided to just run with it and poured it out of there. And then I realized I put the frog on backward. I want the frog facing outward so that you can see it when I'm drinking from the straw, which will be facing me in that indentation. Luckily, the super glue took 300 days to actually dry, so I had no trouble moving it. I did, however, have some trouble sticking things to it. My hair keeps making an appearance. I'm terribly sorry. I really need to dye it purple. I miss my purple. I've just been really lazy and haven't bothered. My youngest daughter tells me that her friends think I'm the cool mom because I have purple hair. Clearly, I have a reputation to uphold here. I tried so hard to get this greenery to stick. I just couldn't do it. The base of it was too thin and it just kept falling over. I eventually just gave up. I do get it on there, but I walked away for a while. Everything's on there now, and unfortunately I did not hit record when I added rhinestones to the frog's toes and to the tops of the mushroom caps. I also added some glow-in-the-dark stones around the base. I did a bunch of stuff. And I decided to give the large blue mushroom googly eyes. That's the cup that I've been reusing for ages, and it does actually have clear UV resin. I'm putting a nice coat down over everything. Well, I should say around everything. You don't want to go over anything like rhinestones that have a facet or the glow-in-the-dark stones that have different edges, because you'll dull that and they won't sparkle or won't appear to have those edges anymore. But I put a nice coat all around the base and make sure that I get everything sealed in. And after this cures, it's all done. It took quite a bit of time, but I think it was worth it. I really love how psychedelic and trippy this looks. I'm a deadhead, and my inner hippie right now is just delighted. The sparkle is insane. I didn't do anything to make it look more sparkly. That was just the flash. I made sure to get a shot of the glow in the dark. Come back next Friday to see me make the matching tumbler. Thanks for hopping by. I'll see you soon.